Was never fair. I'd rather be this starving artist, experience life now at its farthest. One blue sky, we are under, torn and shred now, ripped asunder. The politics, war and famine. I thank God I'm still here jamming. Train your mind.
Are you a college student afraid of failing? Well, take it from somebody with experience on how not to fail, which is exactly what this video is about. How to pass and how to succeed in each of your classes. Well, it's initially all about where it is that you sit. And a lot of people debate this entire question itself. There's a class you can take on it actually. It's called Where to Sit 101. And you're in it right now. So, where's the best place to sit? Is it in the very back of the room so that you can be isolated with your thoughts about what it is that's going on? There's no distractions of you having to push yourself, and you feel less pushed by the class itself, so that you're more at comfort, more at ease. The more relaxed you are, the better able you are to perform. So the back of the class holds these key factors. Or is it the actual opposite, which allows you to be the best you that you can be? Sitting in the front of the class, with everybody sitting there looking at you. They have to go through your image before they can see what's going on that the professor is actually teaching. And with all those eyes on you, the pressure and the attention makes it so you actually work harder, so that you, given all that pressure, are pushed to the point in which you yourself can excel beyond what you normally would without knowing that everybody was observing you. So sitting in the front of the class, are you somewhere in the middle? So you sit right in the middle of the class, right? You're like, oh, you know what? I'm kind of like, I don't want to sit right in the front. I'm not so hyper tense about the situation, but I'm not so lackadaisical that I want to sit in the very back, and I want some pressure from the class on me to perform. But I don't want all of the class's attention to be on me, and I don't want to look like a do-gooder, but I don't want to look like a slacker either. So it's like the middle of the class is for me. And that's what the options are. But I'm here to tell you that those are all the wrong choice. If you chose any of those for those reasons, you chose wrong. And I'll tell you what actually, in my experience as a successful student, has taught me. You gotta pick a seat next to the sexiest soothsayer in the class itself. Okay, who is it that you identify with as your sexual identity? I don't care if it's a guy, if it's a girl, whatever. Whatever it is that you're attracted to, and whatever it is that will hold you to your highest standard, that's where you gotta sit next to. That's what you gotta sit next to. You got to literally scope out the class, and you got to say, damn, she is going to push me to be the best me that I can be. And so it's like, you know, you got to go there, and then all of a sudden this whole set of variables just introduced itself into your life. We're not even talking about what it is that the professor is talking about on the board anymore, but eventually this will translate into success in regards to what the professor is teaching us. Because ultimately we will find ourselves in an environment which will allow us to attain the most information possible, changing our psyche to actually motivate us to be the best us that we can be. So you got to find that sexy person, that sexy someone that you're going to sit next to that's going to motivate you, that you're going to be like, I want to look like somebody who knows what it is that I'm doing, that I'm talking about. And when they need to turn to somebody for help, they're going to turn to me. But it's like, you know, you have this whole other set of variables that I was talking about that just all of a sudden came into play. It's like, you got to be cool, but you can't be too cool, because if you were so cool, you wouldn't be in school in the first place, because school really isn't cool, and the real cool people are actually out doing things. They're not in school. They're the ones that are out, you know, riding the slopes, kicking those cracks, whatever you want to call it, you know what I mean? They're the ones with the actual business out there, businessing or whatever. Those are the real cool kids, the ones that drop out. But you don't want to be that cool, because that's actually going to not be cool in the long run, if you know what I mean. So it's like, you can't be too cool. And you want to look like you're interested and involved in the class, but you want to keep that cool side to you as well, where it's like, you know, I don't really care too much, but I care enough that I know exactly what's going on. You got to be the most knowledgeable person in the class in regards to what's going on, because why would somebody want to sit next to somebody who doesn't know at all what's going on, and you're constantly sitting there bombarding them with what it is that's happening? Nobody wants to sit next to that person that's always like, dude, what's going on? What's going on? You know what I mean? Like, you got to act like you don't know what's going on, but whenever you're probed, it's like you actually know what's going on. And you actually give insight, which forwards the movement of the class and the ideologies which are being spread around as well. And then people are like, oh, look at him. He's conquering this class with ease. It's like he doesn't even need to study, because literally we're sitting here learning from him, right? So you got to be like that, but you can't come off as somebody who is literally, you know, pushing and is super like particular and is this control freak about the entire situation. You can't come off as that, but you can't come off as too cool either. You know what I mean? So it's like, sit in the middle of the room, but be middle in all things. You know, the path is straight and narrow. Neither look to the left nor the right? You know what I mean? Exactly. Otherwise, your mind's going to be left behind, which is exactly what we want to happen. We want to leave your mind behind. This should be a natural, autonomous process that you don't have to think about. And then as soon as you accomplish that, it will actually be perfected in your being. So, what did we just say there? Find someone sexy. But how is it that you can actually attain the symbiotic relationship which the sexes, female and male, are actually supposed to do for one another? We're supposed to heighten each other. We're supposed to raise each other up to new heights. We're supposed to bring out the best in one another. But for you to be the person that somebody else wants to bring the breast out of, not the breast out of, maybe you do want to do that eventually, but we're talking about, you know, initial baby steps right now, the best out of. You got to be and follow this guidelines. You can't be looking for the breast to be the best initially, otherwise you're not going to get no breast in the long run and you won't be the best. So you can't be trying to be the best, but you got to be the best. All right? So find that sexy someone. They're going to push you. They're going to motivate you. You're going to want to be involved in the class, but you can't be too involved, otherwise you're going to lose your position. So here's what you do. You go in, maybe show up a little bit late to class. The first couple days are kind of like everybody's getting situated in the classroom, you know what I mean? It's like everybody's really intermingling and mingling. They're scoping out the class. What is this teacher going to be like? What is the professor going to be like? What are all the other students going to be like? You know what I mean? Like, yeah. So the first couple days, just find a comfortable spot and don't take this into consideration. And then scope out all the other kids in the classroom. And then, you know what? And then you attack the situation with Thor's hammer. But don't follow the hammer in your pants, if you know what I mean. You got to use some mental, intuitive, pre-psychic, like spiritual connections here. Otherwise, you're going to be somebody that somebody moves away from, as they're like, I don't want to sit next to you. So yeah, you can't be that guy. You got to be the one that people are like, I look forward to going to this class because you're there. And because you're there, we're going to get more out of this class, and we're going to make this class our biatch, right? So that's what you got to do. And it's like you scope out the class the first day, you scope out everybody that's in there, and then it's like, all right, I want to sit next to this person, like, because I know that they're going to bring out the best in me, and I'm going to bring out the best in them. We're going to be a symbiotic relationship. It's like when the first mitochondria interacted with the single-celled organism, and they literally enveloped each other and brought about a new superorganism, which was much more powerful and intuitive than the one before. That's what you got to be. And that's what the duality of sexes is supposed to actually do within nature itself. Right? So, yeah. And if you're in a biology class, bring all this up. Talk about all this. You know, your teacher might pat you on the back and just give you like an A+ right then and be like, you passed. You don't even need to take my class. Here's your, you know, the credit for the class itself, right? And you might be looking at me right now and being like, whoa, why am I going to listen to this Joe Schmo? Like, who is this schmuck, this quack, who is sitting here talking to me about all this nonsense? Like, can I really take this guy for the words that he's saying to be true? Well, let me just show you a little something right here. I got the proof in the pudding, as they say in your physics class, right? They say, well, you have the pudding model within the atoms and the molecules, right? And then eventually the proof is in the pudding, folks. And that's what I got right here. I'm going to show you on the screen. The proof is in the pudding with me. I know exactly what it is I'm talking about. You got to be the one that the female is going to turn to for help, but you can't be the one that ultimately is like sitting there like, oh, I know everything, da 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 da. No, it's like you got to be there not wanting to be there, but you want to be there. And it's like you got to know everything without showing that you know everything or touting that you know everything. But at the same point in time, you got to actually act as if they have something to give to you so that they can feel like they're a beneficial part within the relationship of the classroom itself. So, all right, let's just get into it here. What credentials is it that I actually have to be spouting off this information? I mean, you go and you listen to a professor, right? And they're like, yeah, I'm a professor because I went and did this and this and this, and you should listen to me because of this and this and this. Well, you're going to see right now why it is that you should listen to me. So, here we go. A. Medical terminology, B+. We'll take it. Foundation Human Nutrition, A. Digital Media Essentials, A. Calculus, pass. A-, B+, A-, B, A-, pass. University Orientation. Biology, A-. Communication, A. Native American Culture, A. Racquetball, A. Climbing, A. Film, A-. General Biology, A-. Biology Lab, A-. Cooperative Education, pass. Principles of Chemistry, 1. B+. Chem 1 Lab, B-. General Psychology, A. That's right. I know what's going on. I know what's going on inside your mind. That's why I'm so in tune with what it is that I'm talking about right here, folks, because I have an A. And this video is about how I got that A. I don't really know what's going on, but I know about what's going on in this video, and that's how I knew what to do in this class to get an A and show that I didn't know, but I knew what was going on in the grander scheme of things. So, B+, Human Anatomy, again. Anatomy Lab, B. Principles of Chemistry 2, B+. I love chemistry. Principles of Chem 2 Lab Honors, A-. You know that quote that they tell you about in School of Rock? Those who can't do teach, and those who can't teach gym. But those who can do well in your laboratory classes are better off than those who do well in the lecture portion of the class. Because you're actually doing something. You're applying that knowledge. If I am able to apply the knowledge in the lab, then it truly shows that I know what's going on in the lecture, but I hate the lecture portion because it's more of just spouting off just airy nonsense over and over and over, rather than actually applying things to the real world, real life situations, which is why I got an A- in Principles of Chem 2 Lab Honors. Health Psychology, A-. Classes are starting to get harder, folks. Gen Bio 2C, Gen Bio Lab 2B. Again, there we're showing that I'm doing better in the labs. And then we're hitting a brick wall here, folks. The classes are getting harder, but now what you're going to find is that this technique only reaches so far into the higher education courses. This technique of finding an appealing member of the opposite sex to heighten your abilities in regards to the environment that you both find yourselves within. It reaches a peak and a limit. And that's because the more difficult the classes become, we are finding ourselves in OChem 1, OChem 1 lab, which, by the way, again here you see I passed the lab, folks, which means that I really do know what it is that I'm doing. I just hate the lectures. But ultimately, we're seeing a correlative statistic here. As these classes, oh yeah, by the way, I got an A in statistics, so listen to my stats. As these classes are getting more and more difficult, it's becoming more and more difficult to find a beautiful member of the opposing sexual orientation to heighten my ability within the classes. Meaning that the appealing physical attraction is becoming more and more difficult for me to actually envision within these courses as the courses are becoming more and more difficult. It's like people that are truly super beings in regards to intelligence are only that way because they have to make up for their lack of beauty, right? And so what ends up happening is that the higher level educational courses that you find yourself within, you're going to actually find the beauty factor within the classroom itself dropping. It's an inverse relationship as the difficulty of the class heightens. And so with that notion, what ended up occurring was my grades also started dropping because I no longer had this technique to take advantage of to bring out the best Austin that there could be. And it's like what ends up happening is these people had to make up for their lack of subconscious intellect through the manifestation of beautiful physical form, which in itself is actually a manifestation of a certain form of intelligence, because really intelligence is only really the ability to do well in the world. That's the true gauge of intelligence. Something that does well within the world itself is something that's intelligent. And beautiful people do well in the world, showing that beauty itself is actually a facet of intelligence. So their subconscious intelligence actually begins to show, and their conscious intellectual feats begin to drop. And that's what we're seeing here with me, because, you know, all of a sudden I just reached that peak where it was like, you know what? I just have to let my subconscious intellectual beauty stand out more now rather than my conscious intellectual abilities. And I really just had to really, you know, just accept the fact that I had to be really cool and just get the heck out of Dodge. And so, you know, then we have microbiology B+, micro lab, again, A, ecology B, ecology lab B, biomedical ethics A-, research A, self-defense, that's right, I'm a master in martial arts, stress management and wellness concepts. Our class was super stressful and made me more stressed out. Histology D, histology lab A. Again, I'm just talking about those labs, folks, because that's what it's all about. Research, again, trying to literally heal the entire population, put every doctor out of their jobs, because if nobody's sick, then they have no one to heal, which is what I was trying to do. Organic chemistry 1 B, yoga. You gotta be flexible. If you're not flexible, you'll never be able to do all of this. Intermediate yoga. That's right. I stepped it up from beginning to intermediate. Circuit weight training. I have the bod and the physique of a Greek god. Racquetball A. And my brother is listening to me make this video, and I can tell because I got that A in psychology. He's walking out and he's like, my brother is such a dweeb. By the way, he's going to school right now. Me, I'm kind of just like his like friendly like little helper here. I helped him set up this like immaculate room, you know what I mean, everything like that. But it's like I feel like maybe there's like some sort of like I gotta help Austin out in his life. So he's like, oh, come in with me down at school, you know what I mean? And I'm like, dude, I just want to become like a YouTube star. Like, I'm done with all that school stuff, you know what I mean? Like, I'll go there, I'll be a part of the college scene, you know what I mean? And so it's like, he's like walking out of the video and he's like thinking in his head, he didn't say anything, but he's like, psh, Austin, dude. Like, dude. Anyways, moving on. Health career exploration. Pass. That's because it was only a pass or fail course, people. Ceramics 1 A. Genetics C-. Genetics lab A-. I'm telling you folks, I know what's going on. I just hate lectures or undergraduate research. A. I was healing the nation, healing the world. Organic chemistry 2 lab C. That's passing. That's the extent of my education. Like I said before, that relationship curve between the ability for me to find people to push me in my classes, it really just dropped me off into the deep end, folks. Overall, ending me up with a GPA of 3.35. So you know what? I still actually think that that's pretty good. And in regards to real world situations, if we look at all the labs that I passed the labs every time. And the ability for me to actually proceed this far in regards to my education goes to show that I was hitting the nail with some swings. So, take this for what it is. Take my knowledge in. Let it become a part of your life. Allow it to heighten your experience that you have in college. Allow it to better you as it bettered me. Thanks for watching.
Train your mind, now hear my words. Twitter paid in little birds. If you've kept up with all my posts, then your life's just like a ghost, already dead in the machine. The screen and life one's in between.